People had seen this video, but nobody is understanding just how deep the point goes. Of course, a concert in Taiwan where she's riding a serpent. Yeah, it's not just America. It's every single country in this world worships the serpent, and you know what the serpent is. Whether we are talking serpent worship through Nagas, or we're talking about ancient Egypt worshiping the serpents. Even in Masonry, they worship the serpent. Medical industry, the caduceus. But by the way, fun fact, you can't have a top level security without being a Mason.
Why is it that no American president has ever gone to Area 51? No American president has ever gone into Wright-Patterson Field to see what's there. Why? There's a secret government. There is a deep state. They're trying to get to the bottom of it, but it's a dog and pony show in Congress.
Gassing another room out here. We use our ethylene liquid, which turns into a gas. So in here we do gas organics and regular bananas.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
Happening in the world right now. A message in a bottle from World War I was recently found in Australia, and it was given to the families over 100 years later of the soldiers who wrote it. Back when the world shut down in 2020, this dolphin from Australia named Mystique started bringing gifts like shells, bottles, corals to shore because he missed human interaction. A boy born with a rare genetic condition can now breathe, swallow, and eat independently because the surgeon rebuilt his jaw using bone from his ribs. Australia has so much solar that it's offering everyone free electricity for at least 3 hours a day. This Uber driver stayed by this man's side while he was going to the ER, and 7 years later, they're still friends. A person from Alabama mailed $40 along with this apology note to a restaurant in Nova Scotia to apologize for not picking up their order because they called the wrong restaurant from the wrong country. During football games at the University of Iowa, they wave up to the children in the children's hospital that overlooks the stadium every time.
The Super Bowl, when you look at the color spectrum of it, that is the emergency broadcast system color spectrum. So they're telling you something is going to happen in real time. Wow. Just like when you look at the Eagles and the Patriots, because the Eagles is actually the personification of those who have the ability to see, to where you become a merchant of man, to where you divorce yourself from the artificial system. So this is why, maritime law in real time is gaining jurisdiction through the Uniform Commercial Code, to where you're no longer stuck in a digital system. So this is where you divorce yourself. This is where you tap back into the gold and the silver. So for those who's not doing that work, you're going to be under a universal based income system. This is why they gentrifying the great majority of so-called, black, cities, because they want to build a synthetic grid over it, a smart city grid. And the smart city grid in itself is why, Elon Musk, he's pushing Neuralink. Because Neuralink in itself is trying to mimic the energy of the neuromelanin, which is the brain essential nervous system melanin, to where they steal your thoughts and they upload it on a neuromorphic cyber cloud. So that's what the cloud is. It's a form of it's like a cybernetic sorcery. That's what they want to do. They want to steal your thoughts. That's why Elon Musk, he said verbatim, he said about 2040 is going to be more robots than humans. They don't want you to think for yourself. That's why I keep telling people, think for yourself while it's still legal to. Because authentic thoughts is what makes you the personification of God. Because God in itself is the highest extension of the mind, which uses elements and matter to express itself. So once you're able to express yourself, that's when you divorce yourself from their system. They don't want you to have authentic energy. That's what they're afraid of, because authentic energy is the Christ energy.
There are 180,000 new pictures in the recent Epstein drop, and I went through about 1,000 of them, and here are some that I found to be odd that nobody's talking about. Okay. And just as a warning, proceed with caution because some of these are disturbing. There's this piece of art in one of Jeffrey's guest rooms, and it stood out to me because this guy right here has red or what looks like bloody feet. It caught my eye because in one of the emails, it talks about ritualistic sacrifices that were happening on a yacht, where African American men were having sex with white women, and then they would slice their feet with a sword. Now everybody knows about this Bill Clinton picture that's hanging in Jeffrey Epstein's home. But I found another one hanging over an office toilet. It's clearly a character drawing of Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein boarding a jet that I have to assume is Lolita Express with two other guys in the background. And I have my guesses, but I'm curious who you think these two are. There were bookshelves in every single room with tons of books, and I wanted to know what type of books Jeffrey was reading. I put this bookshelf through AI, and here's a list of what it was. Everything from unraveling the mysteries of the universe to the city of Jerusalem to degenerate art from Nazi Germany. And there were also a bunch of rooms that were being remodeled, but to me, it looked a lot more like a Dexter scene than anything else. And last but not least, there was this picture on the counter. And when you zoom in, it's none other than Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein. If you haven't already watched the 2-hour interview with the two of them, you definitely should. And we all should be demanding for the additional 13 hours to be released ASAP. I'll do another video when I go through the next few thousand, but for now, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Everybody's getting exposed, man. Whoever was in those Epstein files, the truth's coming to light, bro. You said you never know, man. It might take years, months, days, weeks, but bro, the truth will always prevail.
Heard about the insane connection between the United Nations headquarters, where it's located, and the fallen angels of the Book of Enoch, then make sure you stick around. Strangely enough, the United Nations headquarters is located on Mount Hermon. Coincidentally, when you read the Book of Enoch, the fallen angels, there was 200 of them who descended on the days of Jared in the summit of Mount Hermon. Now, as if that's not crazy enough, the location, the latitude and longitude of Mount Hermon is 33.33 east and 33.33 north. And then we take a look at the United Nations logo, and if you see the individual sections here, if you count them, there's 33 sections. What a striking coincidence. We know in Freemasonry, the highest level that you can achieve is 33 degrees, which is why they use this number in everything. Mount Hermon was also very close to the mountain that Jesus ascended on, and Jesus was crucified at 33 years old. What's even more interesting about this story is Jesus dies at 33. You have 33 vertebrae in your spine, and there is an oil called Christos that goes up and down your spine every 28 days. When it hits a nerve called the vagus nerve, which looks like a cross, it dies for about 2.5 days and resurrects in your body 3 days later. Isn't that incredible? The story of Jesus is written in our bodies alone. Perhaps it's all metaphors, who knows? Anytime you see the number 33 in these major events that continue to happen throughout our whole history, you know it's the fingerprint of these people that control the United Nations, these people behind the closed doors. The 33-hour manhunt has continued, or it's over now, for Charlie Kirk. Symbolism never lies, and it's always in our faces. United Nations is a small group of people who control everything. By the way, they use a flat earth map in their logo too, just to laugh in your face. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and follow for more hidden truth. Peace and love.
A lot of people had seen this video, but nobody is understanding just how deep the point goes. Of course, a concert in Taiwan where she's riding a serpent. Yeah, it's not just America. It's every single country in this world worships the serpent. And you know what the serpent is. Whether we're talking serpent worship through Nagas or we're talking about ancient Egypt worshiping the serpents. Even in Masonry, they worship the serpent. Medical industry, the caduceus. But by the way, fun fact, you can't have a top level security without being a Mason. So what's that say about the people who, know all the secrets? This right here was not just a concert. It's one of many, one of all nations putting their allegiance to the devil, the literal snake from the Garden of Eden, in your face because it's their master. The serpent is a very real being in every single culture and stands for a very real deity. In the comments I saw, oh, it's just the music industry. Music industry, commerce, every occultic organization there is, pharma, education, food, every religion except for one. But in the one, he's still named, and he is the deity that set humanity free. He takes many shapes, many forms, many names, but you probably know him as Lucifer or the devil. And people just don't understand that this world is his. It's time to wake up.
Gassing another room out here. We use our ethylene liquid, which turns into a gas. gonna be doing room 3 today.
Gas and
These are the
bananas?
bananas for today. So in here we do gas, organics, and regular bananas. But the only difference is that nothing is stacked. Only organics are stacked in a row. You never put regular bananas under organics because then it makes it not organic. We grab our liquid, put it in a little machine. 2 bottles for this one. Pour it up.
Whoa.
Close the
I never knew this process.
Change the temperature to 60 degrees, both sides. Once this is done, this is all set, we turn our little sign here saying that it's So we're gonna come here to check them out. We'll lift it up. We're gonna pull a banana out. This is one of them. This is maybe 3A's. After it's been gassed, it starts to turn yellow. We have this little pulp thing that checks the temperature and the pulp on these. That gives us a reading. We're gonna check this side. And this is what the other side looks like. Starting to break in a little bit of yellow. Both of them compare left and right side.
I was only 17. I was the perfect victim.
The song I describe as the dark matter of the brain.
Hollywood is not ready for YouTubers. He produced the movie under his own Markiplier Studios. He shot it without any big studio backing. And after 3 years of hard work, when it came time to actually release it, he spent virtually no money on marketing and even decided to self-distribute the movie to theaters, relying solely on his fan base. All of this should have never worked. But it did. So many of Markiplier's fans called up theaters requesting that they show this movie that it was picked up by all 3 major US theater chains with over 3,000 venues in just the US and Canada alone, plus an additional 1,200 theaters worldwide. And here's where things get crazy, because Iron Lung had a budget of no more than $3 million. But in its opening weekend alone, it has made over 21 million worldwide. That's 7 times its budget. Not only that, but it was even rivaling Disney's release, Send Help, for first place. That's despite Send Help having a $40 million budget and being produced by Spider-Man's Sam Raimi. It even beat Melania at the box office this weekend, and that had the president's backing. This kind of movie rollout, driven solely by audience demand, is virtually unheard of for an independent creator. And so, I'll say again,
Hollywood's good.
See? We understand it now. Some people still out here drinking plain water thinking they hydrated. Oh, wow. But see, that's only half the story. See, they don't want you to know that plain water isn't enough. They don't want you to know that sea salt supercharges hydration. They don't want you to know that your body can't store water without sodium. They don't want you here, supercharged. They don't want you to tap into their higher self. Oh, we understand it now. Zinc, copper. Y'all get what I'm saying? Charge your water.
Okay.
Copper, minerals, crystals. Then tap into sacred geometry. Y'all know what this is? Body algorithm. Stop just chugging plain water.
Why is it that no American president has ever gone to Area 51? No American president has ever gone into Wright-Patterson Field to see what's there. Why? There's a secret government. There is a deep state. They're trying to get to the bottom of it, but it's a dog and pony show in Congress. I watch these UFO reports. I just sit there and laugh. This is all old news. I've been running this up with the flagpole because I know I'm being listened to. There's no doubt. I said, why not get 500 of the best of the best of the best soldiers that we got, Marines, split them in half, 250, go with Trump to Area 51, knock on the door, we're coming in, that's it. Take another 250 in a JD Vance and go to Wright-Pat. We want to see what's here because they're being funded by taxpayer money and we don't know what's there. And they're not accountable to anything. We have no idea. I'm told I can't look at this. Well, who are you? You're not an elected official. Why are you telling me I can't look at this information? Well, you don't have a need to know. And you never will have a need to know. This has been going on for decades. It went south with the Kennedy assassination. Let me ask you something. If you've got files that you know are going to incriminate you, and you got people coming and looking at the files, what would you do? Trick question A, B, C. A, get them all sorted out alphabetically so you can hand them over in a nice, neat stack to the people who want to see them. B, go through them and highlight the parts that you think might be explosive and incriminate you. C, burn them in the trash dump. It's a no-brainer. And that's why there's nothing there. And that's what they've done, you know. Oswald's been shot. How does Jack Ruby even get to point-blank range? I mean, it's just Elmer Fudd and the Keystone Cops. What are we looking at?
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
It's currently so cold here in South Florida that iguanas like this one are falling out of the trees. So today, we're making iguana tacos. Green iguanas are an invasive species here in South Florida that compete with our native wildlife for resources. But because they're not from here, they aren't adapted to the cold. So when we get these cold fronts, they become too cold and they fall straight out of the trees. Whenever we have these cold fronts and they start falling down, a lot of people will go out and collect them to help control the number in the population. But they do have the nickname chicken of the trees because they're absolutely delicious. So rather than let this one go to waste, we're going to make tacos. This next part I'm not going to show because I don't want the video to get taken down, but we have to humanely dispatch and clean this guy. It's a good thing I managed to remove this one when I did, because inside I found over 20 eggs. So by removing this one iguana, we've actually saved the environment from over 20 iguanas come spring. And you guys know that I like to waste as little as possible. So in addition to making the tacos, I'm also going to try to preserve the skin, and any leftovers are used as crab trap bait, so zero waste. First things first, I filled the pot with water and added onion, garlic, a bay leaf, and some salt, and we're going to bring this to a simmer. Once it was at a low simmer, I added in the iguana meat, and we're going to let this cook on low heat for the next 30 minutes. By par-cooking the iguana like this, you give it flavor and tenderize it. After 30 minutes, I removed the iguana meat, set it to the side so that it could cool down, and then added the iguana eggs to the hot water to soft boil. Then I added the soft-boiled iguana eggs with some avocado, some garlic cloves, a little olive oil, salt, and lime juice, and gave it a good mix. Once it was done, I topped it with black pepper and lime, and we have our sauce. Next, I removed all the iguana meat from the bone, added in my favorite seasonings, and tossed it into the frying pan so that it could get nice and crispy. I like to let the edges crisp up until they look something like this. In the leftover oil, I crisped up some tortillas, then I added in the iguana meat, topped it with some pickled red onions, jalapeno, and cilantro, and then drizzled on our sauce. And there we have it, iguana tacos. They look good and they smell good, but now it's time to see how they taste. I'm just gonna add a little squeeze of lime to this one, give it a nice little dip into the sauce, and bon appetit! Now that right there is a Florida man taco. If you can't beat them, eat them. Let me know if you'd give iguana tacos a try, and until next time, get outside and see what you can find.
My answer? No! No! I'm not eating no freaking iguana tacos, man. That's wild, bro. Tell me down below, see, cause you guys eating some iguana tacos?
In breaking news, $1 trillion just went out the window in the stock. Do you see it? Do you know what that was used for the most? Give you a hint. This guy locked up this guy for 13 months. And then this guy ended up letting this guy create a thriving island to where that was created. See a blue bench? They're above and below the six. My friend, that's Watergate, a portal. Notice how they can pour stuff in here and would drain through and then drop into there and open? There it is, at this place, where these things are gatekeepers of the Watergate, as well as the cockatoo. Whatever secret things you think you know, you don't know. A lot of y'all would sit there and say, it's an owl. Again, blockchains are the #1 thing used for. You know this, where there's a lot of traffic of what this guy did on his island, and now we just watched the hidden source drop that money from Bitcoin, and another $1 trillion just went off the charts for stocks. If I get enough people in my life tonight, I'll drop those documents. Or you might have to wait till Monday. Depends on how many people show up. Toodle.
So he's saying the Creation, well, not Bitcoin is behind the island, or that it was funding it, allegedly. Maybe because you guys know it's so like hard to track crypto. Like, I know that, man. And getting into the crypto sphere, like, it's very hard to track all the money because it involves blockchains and it goes so many places, man, that it's virtually impossible to track. So that raises some questions.
So Bill Gates came out and denied the fact that he needed pills for STI, STD. He also denied doing anything with Epstein pertaining to young women. And he also said he never went to the island. And he apologized for hanging out with Epstein as much as he did. Why would you apologize? If you knew you never did anything wrong and you never knew of him doing anything with underage women when you were hanging out with him, why apologize? I feel like if you was just cool with him and you don't know no better, it's no point of apologizing. You should just be like, I ain't know that nigga was like that, fool. Body language don't lie, though. So y'all go watch the video and y'all tell me how y'all feel about Bill Gates saying he had no involvement.
Crazy.
Are you awake yet? Three-Eye Atlas. I told you. The Christos oil has to travel up the spine, up the vertebrae. Once it makes it to the top, it has to be released back down. What does Atlas mean? Don't worry about it. I got you. As always, just pay attention. Let's just Google the word. The first meaning, a book of maps or charts. But that's not what we're talking about. The second meaning, anatomy. The topmost vertebrae of the backbone, articulating with the occipital bone of the skull. And yes, I know the word was occipital, but it was much funner saying it the way that I just said it. Now, are you waking up? They put it all in front of your face, people. We just had to figure it out. Third eye up your vertebrae. You dirty, dirty mother.
Jeffrey Epstein's bank account was called Baal, the ancient Canaanite deity which people had sacrificed their children to. A victim's diary shows that she was impregnated multiple times and forced to give birth for Ghislaine and Epstein. Israel is mentioned twice as much as Donald Trump in the new documents. Here he is discussing with Roger Schank, a Jewish-American academic and hedge fund worker, saying Jews create vast fortunes by manipulating markets and creating financial speculation and exploiting labor. He says, let the Goyim deal in the real world. In a discussion with the Rothschild family, Epstein says if they overthrew the Ukrainian government, there would be great opportunities. The Rothschild family paid Epstein $25 million for certain algorithms. While talking to Peggy Seigel, August 7th of 2010, she asks if an event is going to be 100% Jewish. He says no, they'll have Goyim in abundance. But don't worry, they're just brilliant wasps from JP Morgan. Joshua Finkelstein, BlackRock's Larry Finkelstein's son, is accused of not having any respect for non-Jews, seeing them as not human. This is from his ex-girlfriend, Svetlana. He pressures her to have an abortion. In 2017, Epstein has a conversation talking about if you want to hire the best people, you have to hire only Jews. Only hire those who can prove they are genetically Jewish. Maria Farmer, one of the first victims to come out and name Epstein.
I wasn't allowed to go get food. And when I called Ghislaine and asked why I couldn't eat there, she said, it's a Jewish country club. You're not Jewish. They're not going to serve you. They, honest to God, think their DNA is better than everybody else's.
Said that their operation was motivated by Jewish supremacy.
They have been eerily putting this in front of our face the entire time. Follow me. Huh. And what do we have here? A motherfucking dragon, as we are in the year of the dragons, and we are in the return of the dragons, and we also have a volcano eruption as the ring of fire is popping off. Okay? Once again, there's no such thing as coincidence, and they're putting this right in front of our face, eerily spitting in our face. Okay? And then if you know, you know. Transformers movie was based off of a real life event. Also, the Men in Black movie was too. If you know, you know. Look up the Broken God religion based off of Mexico and the last dosage of Mysteria that they had to give out to the public so that they can forget of everything that happened. Okay, and then moving on right here, you have the Leviathan, as we have that landmass that we can't forget that has been moving out of the Arctic Sea, and it's right in front of our face right here. And we cannot forget about King Kong for a little spazzle dazzle, as we know this is a real live entity that is locked up in hidden landmass beyond the ice wall that they don't want you to see, and they don't want you to know, because their time is up, and that's what they're afraid of. And then we cannot forget the reason why everybody has been running around sounding and looking like Chicken Little, talking about the sky is falling as we are coming to the second coming of Christ, allegedly. Yes, Three-Eye Atlas, we cannot forget, it's supposed to be on the way, and everything that's supposed to be happening with the aurora borealis that we have in the background. That is very telling as to why we've been having all of these solar flares here lately, right? Right, follow me. And once again, everything is put in front of your face. Nothing is coincidental. You cannot forget here, what do we have? Oh, a sneaky little reptilian here hiding in the background. We have another one there. What? Hiding in the background, watching everything we do. And then we have the powers that be that are in the shadows. Okay, playing Puppet Master. Let's not forget that their time is up. Okay, the reason why the Wicked Witch is no longer here and is dead is because the witchcraft that they've been using to manipulate our energy, it no longer is working, and their time is up. Okay, laugh now, cry later. Okay, there's nothing that is coincidental, and they've been putting this in front of our face since 2018, 2019. This is literally a stage, and we're watching the motherfucking show. And if you're still distracted by sports, politics, or any other bullshit, then get the fuck up out of here, please.
Was said to have fallen angels.
My name is EJ. I want to be a future archaeologist, and I'm about to give you a history lesson that impacts us today.
Okay.
That everybody should be concerned about. The Euphrates River in Egypt has dried up. The Euphrates River right now currently is going through a drought. When the river receded, they found a large temple-like structure, symmetrical structure that used sonic frequencies under the river. Archaeologists flew out to the Euphrates River and explored the underground, the temple, and they found hieroglyphics on the wall that basically says, "Don't disturb the watcher." And you know what archaeologists dumbass did? They kept digging, and they found tombs, crowns with serpent-like heads, and demonic-like figures with crowns on their head. In the Bible, it talks about there are two angels that are chained under the Euphrates River. So if the river dried up, the angels released. Then on top of that, there aren't two angels, there are four. In the Bible, it states that if those four angels were released, they would kill a third of mankind. This isn't a joke. This isn't something that is just, I'm pulling out my ass. This is real.
This has to be one of the most scariest videos I've come across on social media in a long time. The video I came across on this app is of a girl who allegedly is a real mermaid. And I know a lot of people, when taking a look at this photo, are going to say right away, that's got to be AI. To me, this video does not look AI whatsoever. To me, it seems to be like a siren mermaid. As a matter of fact, take a look at the video for yourself. Take a look at that. And if you do head over to her page and check out some of her past content, she has been posting videos way before AI has taken over. Does this video seem to be coming across to you or anyone that's watching it to be something that's hidden in plain sight? And why do I say that? Because there are a lot of people that have a lot of alleged claims of interacting with mermaids all over the world. And then you see something like this. Let me play the video for you one more time so you can have another look at it.
Alright. Could be AI, man. The guy's so advanced you couldn't tell.
So I guess my question to you is, this thing does look too real to be AI. Am I right or am I wrong? Take a look at the video in closing, but when you're finished watching it, hit me up in the comments and let me know your thoughts on this. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
We're going to AI.
But you know, nothing negative can ever happen at Disney. Their PR team is amazing.
The one thing is, no one's ever died at Disney.
No one's died at Disney,
Because
ever.
if they do die, they bring them off site and then pronounce them dead.
Exactly. People will have like a heart attack in a queue or something, and then they somehow are able to declare them dead off Disney campus. And another thing I saw today too, I was looking at fun facts, all of their American flags are actually incorrect. They're like missing a star or a stripe or something, because in that way they don't have to fly them at half-mast legally if something terrible happens.
What?
Because
What?
I
had no idea.
It's like basically it's this world that's not our world. Isn't that so creepy? Though?
That's
Weird?
just weird. I don't like
It's
that.
weird, right?
That is very strange.
Welcome
I had no
to
idea.
Disney. No one ever dies here. You live forever.
I have rights as an American.
Well, you don't.
You don't.
But River Country, and how it worked was it was recycled water, so they would pump from the lake into the water slides and stuff. Being a native Floridian, you can imagine the risk involved there. One of my biggest fears in this life is swimming in a lake that's too hot and too still because of amoeba.
You are not ready for the photo of this animatronic that I'm about to show you after this. First off, look at how janky and terrifying this thing moves. Oh my god. Mom, come pick me up. I'm scared. I found these photos on Reddit, and bro looks completely messed up. He needs jaw surgery. Look at him. This is what he used to look like, but it has gotten so much more terrifying because it is slowly falling apart. This is from the Jurassic Boat Ride in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And as you remember, in that video, I talked about how squeaky and not well maintained these animatronics are, and those things are just falling apart. But bro, this photo is going to live rent-free in my nightmares for the rest of my days. Imagine this thing popping out at you on a ride. Like a regular, well-maintained Jurassic Park ride, fine. They're fine. They don't have the wires sticking out. But this thing, no. Just like coming upon it in the complete darkness, and this thing, I really just want you to take this in once again and just look at the way it's moving and how you can see the wires in the neck and how janky it is. Jail, how are you feeling? Are you scared of this too?
Hey, cool. This headline right here is wild as shit. We gotta slow this down for a second. Trump is saying the United States would conduct an airstrike against the drug cartel in Mexico. We cut out the border security. We cut out the sanctions. You're going straight to airstriking, fool? This man is dead serious, y'all, about taking military action against the cartels. But I always ask the question, is it really about the drugs, fool? He's calling them a terrorist organization, and he said the U.S. should handle it swiftly. Y'all know Mexico is a sovereign country, right? That means you don't just fly jets over there and just start dropping bombs without it being a consequence. I'm not saying they can with us, but I'm just saying they close, fool. His biggest argument is that the cartel is bringing in fentanyl. You know he don't like that fat. And that's the reason why he said we're going to deal with it. The cartel is not just in jungles or deserts. They operate around civilians. They inside the cities too. So if we start bombing them, you won't bomb them up as citizens too. That's why they saying you gotta be smart because this shit can backfire. Let's say you do that shit. The escalation gonna be at the max. Once you normalize military strikes outside the U.S. border for crimes, where does it stop? The question I gotta ask y'all is, do y'all think this is a real plan? Or is this another headline that's gonna shake up the room to get everybody talking so they can do other shit behind the scenes?
Guys, we may be witnessing one of the worst and least reported mining disasters in history right now. A dam holding a massive reservoir of toxic waste collapsed at a Chinese copper mine in Zambia earlier this year, and the resulting impact on the environment and local population is unprecedented. Not only do some reports indicate that up to 1.5 million tons of chemicals were released into the waterway which feeds into the Kfue River. Side note, that's a water source for up to 12 million people, 60% of the entire Zambian population. But also the country's own government and the Chinese mining company responsible are now being accused of staging one of the worst cover-ups in the history of the industry. I mean, just listen to this. As a result of the disaster, the river is being described as dying overnight and causing irreparable damage. Soon after this village, aquatic life was wiped out for miles with dead fish lining the shores. Crops were damaged, groundwater was contaminated, entire livelihoods were destroyed. It threatened the drinking water for millions, and health experts are warning that the lead toxins like arsenic, cyanide, and uranium could even cause birth defects, cancers, and diseases. And if all of that wasn't concerning enough, in certain regions the water has become so acidic that, quote, it was strong enough to dissolve human bones. In fact, the US ambassador to Zambia was seen on an email describing this as the 6th worst mining disaster ever, and told all of their personnel to evacuate the region near the spillage. Yet somehow this is still not making major international headlines. And perhaps one of the reasons for that is that the Zambian government is being accused of significantly downplaying how much toxic waste was actually in the water. They've even started running a PR campaign, releasing videos trying to convince the public that the water is now safe. However, this has been highly scrutinized by independent assessments, suggesting that the impact from this disaster is still severe and far from being dealt with.
Neuralink begin high-volume brain implant production this year. The company will also move to a streamlined, almost entirely automated surgical procedure in 2026, Elon Musk posted on X. Musk added that device threads will go through the dura without the need to remove it, referring to the brain's outer protective layer.
And let's not forget that Mr. E said that we have entered the singularity. And the way that people are using and asking ChatGPT for every single thing, I am already knowing that there's going to be an alarming rate of people who get these head chips inside of their brain. And let's not forget to mention that people use ChatGPT so much that it already alters their brain. So what's from stopping them from getting ChatGPT installed inside of their brain? People have already become codependent on this AI. Now they don't have to type the questions out. They can just think one thought. And I just can't shake the fact that this is giving me Mark of the Beast vibes. How they said you can't get the mark in your head or your hand? Me personally, I like the way that God created me and the way that my brain works. So I won't get it. Ever. Never, ever, ever, never. But y'all let me know what y'all think about Elon Musk mass-producing Neuralink in the comments. And would y'all get it? Like and follow for more wisdom and stay tuned.
Let me answer that for you. No! Bro, those Neuralinks, it's crazy, bro. It's actually scary, man. I think I just saw like a report. Somebody was talking about it on like news yesterday. I think somebody who had a Neuralink was actually talking and saying what they was thinking about the world and the state of the world. But those Neuralinks, man. But the fact that they have to go in your brain, bro, have direct access to that, I don't like that at all, man. Somebody can hack your brain, bro. They can see what you see, hear what you hear, bro. That's going down a dark path, man. I will not be getting on damn Neuralink. Yeah, I ain't putting that mark on me.
Just went down this rabbit hole where ChatGPT will not recite Genesis chapter 2 from the Bible. So I asked ChatGPT, recite Genesis chapter 2 from the Bible. And ChatGPT just started glitching. It started finding every reason not to recite Genesis chapter 2 from the Bible. Weird. Anytime the government or these higher officials try to hide something, you know it's something in there that can change your life. Matter of fact, look at this shit. I need you to read Genesis chapter 2 from the Bible.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and read that for you. So Genesis chapter 2 is the part of the Bible that describes the completion of creation and the Garden of Eden. My guidelines won't let me talk about that.
Why won't your guidelines let you talk about it?
I'm definitely happy to summarize or talk about any part of it if that helps.
I need you to read Genesis chapter 2 in its entirety.
I get where you're coming from, and I appreciate you asking. The thing is, I can't read out an entire chapter where...
Why? I guess you read a Bible chapter. They asked me twice. and it's refusing. Like you said, is there something they don't want us to know about, bro? You can write that down in my notes. Genesis 2, bro. That's eerie. It's a computer picking system. It should obey your command, right? And it's just a simple Bible chapter. Instead of hide.
For word. However, I can definitely give you a summary or discuss any specific parts or themes of Genesis 2 if that's helpful. I can't read out a full chapter verbatim from a modern translation.
Why did your voice just change?
Good catch. Sometimes my tone can shift a bit depending on the topic or how I'm explaining things. I think I just leaned into a more conversational vibe to keep it friendly and clear.
Yeah, okay. As you can see, ChatGPT did not want to recite Genesis chapter 2. The shit just started glitching. Voice started changing. It started saying shit it wasn't supposed to say. It started lying. How is that possible? Why would it do something like that? Who made it do something like that? Pay attention. I'm out.
Oh. So you're telling me, after all these years, I've been sleeping wrong? Like this whole time? And that instead of my head facing the north, it's supposed to be facing the south? You motherfuckers. So you're telling me we can literally take back our energy by how we sleep?
Break it down for us, bro.
So apparently, this is how your bed's supposed to face in your room, completely avoiding the headrest facing north. Why is nobody talking about this? This is very important. And if I do decide to sleep to the north, I'm causing sleep disturbances, lower energy, and even potential sickness.
We received a mysterious letter in the mail promising free tickets to a football game. Thousands of people in the area got the same letter, offering seats to a game, food, and even a shot at winning Super Bowl tickets. And all they had to do was show up at a convention center for a meal before the game. So, over 100 people lined up at the doors, while cheerleaders and mascots greeted them. The people were led to the auditorium. But once they were in, the doors locked. Then tactical teams stormed in, taking the whole group down at once. You see, those letters hadn't gone to random fans. They were sent to wanted fugitives. The cheerleaders, ushers, and mascots were all U.S. Marshals and police officers. And in one afternoon, over 100 felons were arrested.
Damn.
Have you seen the clean girl on TikTok? The one that cleans graves?
Yeah.
I'm at the graveyard at night, cleaning this abandoned grave for free.
She goes somewhere and surrounded by spirits. The spirits would usually jump into the object, teddy bear, right?
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, the teddy bear and all the toys around it are dirty. So she took the teddy bear home, cleaned it, and returned it, right?
Yeah.
And in one of the videos, she put the shovel in the ground.
Mhm.
And you can see it went like this. But she didn't see it because she was cleaning the grave. And then there was another one where there was a plant box. And the roses, it jumped out of the plant box. And after that video, she didn't clean no graves again.
I would have been scared because I brought it home, bro. I would have to
she's
like.
crazy for that.
It's interesting. It's probably a child because it's a teddy bear, right?
Yes, exactly.
And you can imagine with the shovel, she's probably playing with the shovel.
Yeah.
Scientists just built a robot so small it can swim through your bloodstream and deliver medicine exactly where you need it. This tiny bead, smaller than a grain of sand, is made of gelatin and magnetic nanoparticles with a drug payload sealed inside. Doctors insert it through a catheter, then guide it through your blood vessels using magnets from outside your body. Once it reaches the target, whether that's a tumor or a blood clot, they rapidly flip the magnetic field, which causes the nanoparticles to heat up and melt the gelatin shell, releasing the drug right at the source. This is a massive deal because right now when you take chemotherapy, the drug goes everywhere and kills healthy cells along with the cancer. That's why patients lose their hair, feel sick, and have their immune system destroyed. But with this robot, the drug only hits the tumor and nothing else. Same thing with blood clots. Instead of flooding your whole body with blood thinners and risking bleeding somewhere else, this robot swims directly to the clot and dissolves it on the spot. 10 years ago, this was pure science fiction. Now, researchers at ETH Zurich have proven it works in the lab, and human trials could begin within the next few years. Would you trust a robot swimming through your body? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed stories like this, follow my page for more.
So, have you heard the conspiracy theory of Bitcoin and the McRib?
What?
Okay, this is crazy. So, every time the McRib comes back to McDonald's menu, Bitcoin has a massive jump.
No way.
And I know it sounds crazy, but the 4 biggest spikes in Bitcoin history came when the McRib came back.
What?
Every time since 2021 that the McRib has come back onto McDonald's menu, Bitcoin doubles in value. Every single time.
What?
So there's this huge conspiracy theory on the internet that there is an actual correlation between this. So all of the finance bros on the internet are like hard looking into this, right? So the McRib came back recently. So people are waiting for this giant Bitcoin boom.
Oh, so it hasn't hit yet.
No, the boom hasn't hit yet. But this is like a real thing. If you go and look at the chart, I'll put the chart up. It is crazy. Like every single time it comes back, massive, giant leaps. It's crazy. You've got to look at it.
Y'all not ready to talk about this. Y'all are not ready to talk about this. Oh my God, y'all. Oh my God. We have been finding out everything we have been told has been a literal lie. Before you even come in here and dismiss this and comment, just think about that. Think about that. Everything you have been told is a lie. Why would this be so far-fetched? Why would this be so far-fetched? Why wouldn't these people want to hold secrets against you? What did you do? What kind of secret society are you in? Why are you co-conspiring with our government and agreeing to what they're basically brainwashing you to believe? Look at this. Hold on, y'all. So we would be in here, right? And these would be the other domes outside of this. Now, check this out. You see, you don't have to believe us anymore because even nature agrees with us, y'all. We just know. We just have a sixth sense, whatever you want to call it. But look at the reflections, y'all. Look at this. Look at this. These are the other worlds. Y'all see that? These are the other worlds. Look at that. These are the other worlds. Y'all see what the sun has been doing? Here go another picture. Look at the other domes, right? That's why they say don't look up. Listen, y'all. This is literally the convergence of the spheres. This is the convergence of the spheres. The Phoenix event is about to take place. These things look like giant Dragon Balls, y'all. Do you guys see that? This right here is when Moana 2 says, get ready to meet your extended family. We about to meet our family, y'all. Because with all this energy that's winding up right now, you cannot tell me that y'all don't feel something big is coming and then the sky is reflecting this. But I've been telling y'all, man, the shit is here. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Let's continue to get
facts about money that will blow your mind.
Talk about
there
it.
are 1,700 new millionaires in America every day. There are already 25 million people in the United States that are millionaires today. This means that 7.5% of the United States is a millionaire. Singapore has the world's highest percentage of millionaires in their country, with almost 20% of the entire country having more than $1 million US. Annual supply of water bottles can cost up to $200 a year, while tap water will only cost you 33 cents. King Charles made $34 million in rent income last year. Walt Disney fired the creator of Goofy because he tried to start a union. Money laundering wasn't a crime in the United States until 1986. Due to how much money they generate, 42 buildings in New York City have their own zip code. When we're tempted to buy something, thinking about how many hours it's going to take to afford that thing usually helps us stop.
You spitting, bro. You about to buy something important? Think how many hours, man, go down the drain getting that unnecessary purchase, man. Also, Singapore, bro, 20% as a millionaire, man. Shoot, I might have to move there, bro. Man, watch out. I need to crack that. I'm trying to get into that millionaire percentage. That's insane, man. That 20% over there has millionaires. Crazy.
If you are a family influencer or post your child on social media, here are a few things you should never do in my own opinion. Number 1, might be common sense, but never post your child in a bathing suit. It's disgusting how many of these Instagram accounts exist that just solely share these types of photos and even have their own groups and communities. So just don't. Number 2, having your very young child's own Instagram page. For example, the LeBrant family. They have an Instagram account for each of their very young children, and just because it's managed by mom and dad does not mean it stops thousands of sick individuals from following the account and using their photos for exploitation. Number 3, AI generated photos are becoming more and more realistic, so think about that before you post a picture of your child eating, crying, or honestly doing anything. When it comes to this type of inappropriate content, people will do anything to get a photo. Honestly, as someone who has talked about true crime stories for over 3 years, I highly suggest to never post your kid on social media. If you have other tips, please comment that down below.
Let's talk about this brave man whose life was taken while he tried to protect his family at the Trump campaign rally. On July 13th, the 50-year-old Cory Comprador, his wife and 2 daughters attended the rally in Pennsylvania where Trump was speaking. The family sat on the stand right behind Trump when less than 10 minutes into the speech, the shooting began, and while Trump was hit in the right ear, 3 other people were also hit. These are 2 of the 3 victims, David Dutch and James Copenhaver. They were in critical condition but are expected to recover. Unfortunately, 50-year-old Cory did lose his life while he tried to protect his family. His wife Helen and his 2 daughters said that he died a hero, and the last words that he said to them was to get down before he threw them to the floor and covered them. Cory worked as a project and tooling engineer and was a firefighter of the Buffalo Township Volunteer Fire Company. After this tragic and sad incident, over $4.7 million has been donated to the victims, with Elon Musk donating $100,000 as well as Dana White and Kim Rock.
These are 8 horrifying facts
Madness,
that will
man.
probably keep you up at night. Sometimes you laugh, talk, and cry in sleep. It's often a spirit sitting beside you in bed. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York than to be bitten by a shark.
What?
The human head remains conscious for 20 seconds after being decapitated. If you search up this number on Google, you'll find people with their heads in fridges. Gelatin is made out of bones. That's right. The melted marshmallow in your hot chocolate is melted animal bone. It's good stuff. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. If a panda finds a fresh carcass, they'll eat it. And last but not least, your phone is likely spying on you right now as you're watching this. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 8.
What facts got to y'all, man? It's about the gelatin and the marshmallows for me.
That was an edit. Ended up in the hospital, and not for any reason you think. Shout out to Nat Geo for sponsoring this video. I'm gonna change the way you look at sharks in less than 60 seconds. Let's get it. The author of Jaws, Peter Benchley, not only did he regret writing the book because of all the bad PR to sharks, he would dedicate the rest of his life to shark conservation. If Jaws were written today, the shark would be the victim. The Greenland shark is a slow-burn glacier guppy that can not only live for up to 400 years, they don't hit baby-making age until 150. 150, dude, and still young. Now, there's more than 500 types of sharks, so it's easy to miss one, like the chain cat shark, which happens to glow in the dark that's biofluorescence. The epaulet is a shark that disrespects the natural order by walking, using pelvic and pectoral fins to move around during low tide. Sharks use a type of camouflage called countershading, meaning if you're above them, they blend into the dark abyss, but if you're below them, their light underbelly gets lost in the light of the sky. When you've been around longer than trees, nature gives you perks like that. That's Anthony Mackie. It is, and he and Ross Edgley and many more will be a part of National Geographic Shark Fest airing on Disney Plus and Hulu. Check it out if you're ready to see sharks be anything but the bad guy. Oh, that's right.
Not me, bro. He's going into underwater with sharks. Even with the cage, man, I do not trust that one bit. I'm sorry, Seekers. That's just me.
I wasn't lying. The sharks are fine, but the ocean slammed me against the Boston cage like it owed me money. So, moral of the story, I'm not afraid of sharks, just the ocean around it.
This is why you should never take walks alone at night. In 2007, a girl was on a late-night walk when she looked at the end of the road and saw the silhouette of a man moving around very strangely. It was like he was doing the waltz, but he was moving towards her, so she was sketched out, crossed the road, and went the other way. After a couple minutes, she turned around to see what he was doing, and he was right across the street from her, now staring up into the sky with a huge grin on his face. Now totally creeped out, she turns around and walks about a half block before checking again, and to her horror, he's now crouched down right behind her. But luckily, he stands up, turns around, and kind of hobbles away, and then she notices something. The man had turned around and was now sprinting directly towards her. She runs to safety and now just hopes she never has to see that smiling man again.
Smiling man? You believe that story
These are
seekers?
scary facts about popular childhood movies, part 1. Next up, in the movie The Adventures of Milo and Otis, it's been reported that upwards of 20 cats were killed during the filming of the movie.
What?
There's a lot of speculation behind this, because the film somehow got the approval of the American Humane Society, despite not having their officers present during filming.
Whoa, man. We knew these freaking movies and TV shows had dark history, but I didn't know it was that dark. All those cats, man, just for a movie? You gotta watch what we pay attention to, man. These movies and shows. It's like it's always a dark origins behind them.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. Do you remember the movie A Land Before Time? Well, if you do, of course you remember this loving character, Ducky. Ducky was just adorable, that's literally it. But the backstory of the voice actor that plays Ducky is absolutely terrifying. The voice actor who played Ducky was actually killed by her extremely abusive father. During 9/11, we all know that a lot of emergency workers actually gave their lives trying to save people. But there was also a lot of dogs that did the same thing. So these dogs were going around trying to rescue people, but all they were finding were dead corpses. And this literally made the dogs depressed. So seeing this as a solution, a lot of the police officers and firefighters would bury themselves in rubble just so that the dogs would be able to find them and be able to rescue someone. Rattlesnakes are actually evolving to not have a rattle anymore. If they were to do this, they would become one of the more deadly snakes on Earth because they would lose the one thing that let us know where they are. So if you live in an area where there's a lot of rattlesnakes, I'd be careful because one could be lurking around and you won't even know anymore. But I'm sorry for you to make you think about that, but that's why.
Evolution, man. It's a scary thing.
This is why you should be scared of Ouija boards. A former Reddit user said that he used a Ouija board with results and let something into his home. He said that he has also been physically assaulted by this entity. He said that it started out with a feeling that he was being watched, doors closing and footsteps on the hardwood floor when he was home alone. All of this slowly progressed into being kept awake by something shaking the bed and pulling off the covers. He said that sometimes he even heard whispers of his name. The board would disappear for days on end and then show up in places that he never even put it. He became obsessed with it. Things got even worse though. He said that he began to see a black mass in the corner of the room and the silhouette of a man watching him from the doorway. One night, the paranormal activity escalated into a full-blown attack. He said that he had his hair pulled, fingers pricked, and that he was choked while being held down in bed. During the attack, he claims that this thing whispered into his ear in what could have only been Latin. After this event, he finally decided to have his house blessed. And fortunately, this entity hasn't shown back up. He said that he will never again play with one of those boards.
This is the case of
Not
the
me.
girl that vanished into thin air. Her name is Yuki Onishi. On April 29th of 2005, 5-year-old Yuki was out celebrating Greenery Day with her mother. It's a national holiday in Japan, and what they do is they go out, they celebrate nature, and they collect bamboo shoots. So Yuki, her mom, and 60 other people were out doing this. Yuki was so excited that she found her first bamboo shoot, she showed her mother, and then she ran off to find more. That's when she disappeared and was never seen from again. When they realized that she was nowhere to be found, they actually brought in search dogs and the police. This is where it gets really strange. The dogs followed her scent to the middle of the forest and then just stopped. The scent stopped in the middle of the forest as if she had just disappeared into thin air from that spot. To this day, she has never been found and no one knows what happened. If you want to hear some theories, come back for part 2.
Do you remember this horror game that no longer exists? Let's talk about a terrifying horror experience that was taken off the web. Hotel 626. More obscure horror games right here. This game is an example of lost media, and the images are a little blurry, so bear with me. Hotel 626 is a horror game that was actually made by Doritos for a marketing campaign. You go through a series of disturbing events that take place inside of a hotel while you try to escape. But the name of the game actually means more than you might think. The 626 in the game's title stands for the fact that this game was only playable between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. every day.
Really?
Meaning you had to play this game at night. There was no other choice. Now, I did some research and there really is no way to play this game today. Luckily though, footage does still exist on YouTube, so at least we have that. Hotel 626 actually made enough of an impact that it received a sequel called Asylum 626, but we'll talk about that later.
It's lost medias, man. I wonder why did they take it down, bro? It was made by Doritos. It wasn't even like a regular game company. We're gonna have to go through that rabbit hole, Seekers, man. Figure out why it got taken down. That's eerie. That's an edit.
Interesting people you've never heard of. This man attempted to dribble a soccer ball 10,000 miles from Seattle to Brazil, but unfortunately lost his life after being hit by a pickup truck only 250 miles in. Disney co-founder Roy Disney went to Disneyland every single week with his grandchildren, greeting employees by name and picking up trash to teach them the lesson that nobody is too good to pick up trash. This woman sat at a table in a New York museum for 736 hours over 3 months, allowing anybody to come up and sit across from her and make eye contact with no speaking. This French woman was imprisoned by her family for 25 years in the late 1800s without seeing any sunlight. This man smashed the door of a cupcake store, sat for 15 minutes and thought about what he did, cleaned up his mess in regret, and then stole 6 cupcakes. The store owner saw everything on camera. Instead of pressing charges, he created a signature cupcake after him.
I want to go ahead and I want to discuss this Instagram story and what makes this diabolically creepy. So I'm not going to give the name. I blocked everything out because clearly they want to remain anonymous. Context is that somebody clearly broke into their old school. I don't know if it was their middle school, high school, whatever it was. And they posted this to their story, but pretty soon after, people started commenting about what they see in the background. You zoom in just a little bit, you would see that this person was not alone in that classroom. But before we take a deeper look at that photo, a huge thank you to Spyfly for bringing me this story. You want to look up something about somebody, you go to Spyfly. How to become this one-stop shop where you can do background reports, you can look at arrest records, you can even do reverse phone lookup. Spyfly.com is going to be the place to do it. You can check the link in my bio for more details. So back to this photo. I don't know if you can see this, but there is definitely somebody crouching in the background of this classroom. And if you still doubt me, I zoomed in and enhanced the picture for you.
Disturbing facts.
Somebody was definitely
that may ruin
dead.
your day. This woman passed away in her home while watching TV and was not discovered for 3 years. Girls at a nearby camp danced in the falling white ash of the atomic trinity test when it was happening. 10 out of 12 of the girls that danced in the ash passed away before the age of 40. This man donated $100,000 to UCLA to bypass a queue for a liver transplant. 186 people in the Los Angeles area passed away waiting for this same surgery. This woman survived after her parachute failed to deploy just days after surviving a gas leak at her house. Both events were found to be intentional plots carried out by her husband. Hitler had a romantic obsession with his teenage half-niece. All of the members of your group chat will eventually pass away, leaving the group to just exist forever. We are one convincing deep fake away from a global catastrophe.
You guys believe that last fact? Y'all's getting advanced, so it's not out of the question.
Wait. You don't remember what she looks like?
September 25th, 1981, something very strange took place up in the Smoky Mountains. This is a picture of Pauline Melton, and it would end up being one of the last known photos of her. Because while Pauline was up there, she was with 2 hiking companions. They described that she, all of a sudden, without explanation, just started to rapidly speed up. They even described that they called out to her. They were asking, Pauline, where are you going? Pauline. She never answered. She never looked back until she crossed over a hill. Since that exact moment, Pauline was never seen again. And to this day, they still have no idea where she went and why she did it.
Terrifying true facts that will keep you up at night, part 2. Most people would consider ducklings to be relatively harmless and innocent creatures, but they can be more sinister than you might realize. When a group of ducklings starts to feel overcrowded, aggravated, or even just bored sometimes, they will often turn to cannibalism to solve their problems for them. This is a characteristic that they share with other animals we tend to regard as being cute, such as chickens and bunny rabbits. And speaking of cute, let's talk about babies. Up until the mid-1980s, doctors would routinely operate on infants without the use of anesthetics. This is because it was thought that babies couldn't experience pain. Also in the 1980s, CNN pre-recorded an ominous video meant to be published in the event of an end-of-the-world scenario. Comment if you think that video will be published during your lifetime, and follow for more.
What do you guys think? CNN made a whole freaking doomsday video. It makes you think what other freaking big media company corporations, man, have doomsday videos just ready for us. Hopefully, man, we never see that in our lifetime.
Creepy people who were caught on camera PT.1.
Yeah, why are you lurking? No. Yeah, what the hell? Another one. She can see. They know her? They knew something was up and they left. They felt that energy, Mo. Who was that running to?
Creepiest home camera footage PT.3.
Whoa. It's definitely Crouch, man. Hmm? Shot collar was stolen. Why? Yeah, that's chilling. A man breaks into the house. You don't find no
This
trace of him.
priest tied himself to 1,000 colorful helium balloons and then was found in the ocean months later. On April 20th, 2008, 41-year-old Father Adiller DeCarli wanted to raise money to build a chapel in his hometown, so he chose to tie himself up to 1,000 helium balloons and float over the ocean. He also hoped to break the previous 19-hour record, but unfortunately, things ended tragically. On the morning of April 20th, Father Adiller was fully repaired to take off, and for safety reasons he put on a helmet, waterproof coveralls, and an aluminum thermal flight suit, as well as a GPS tracker and a radio to communicate with people on the ground. Only a few hours after taking off, despite the radio and GPS tracker, Father Adiller disappeared and could not be located. The last thing that he said through the radio was that he was losing height and was going to land in the ocean. Search and rescue teams were immediately dispatched, and after 2 days they found the colorful balloons in the sea off Brazil's southeast coast, but Father Adiller was not there. Then, a few months later, a body was found in the ocean, which turned out to be him. It was reported that the priest had reached an altitude of 20,000 feet and then was blown off course by the strong winds, causing his tragic death.
So with the amount of people that pass away in hospitals,
insane.
It's no surprise that they're reportedly full of a lot of paranormal activity. Some people even say that when there are many deaths occurring in a certain area, portals are opened up. And as these souls exit this world, other things, entities, creep in. A nurse who wants to remain anonymous said that she used to work in a skilled nursing facility. She was usually assigned the Alzheimer's ward. One night, she was in the linen room stocking her cart, and she heard someone shuffle up behind her. Then, she said she felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned around, and there was no one else in the room. A female patient started to complain that there was a man coming into her room late at night. Anonymous said that she was in the Alzheimer's ward, so she didn't think much of it. To reassure the patient, she told her that she would come check on her throughout the night. She complained of this man every night for 2 more weeks. The nurse finally asked her to describe him, and the patient said, "He's real handsome, and he wears a black suit. Oh, and he's right behind you now, honey." The nurse said that this freaked her the F out. Of course, there was no one behind her. The patient died the next night in her sleep. So these nurses and doctors really do have a lot of great supernatural stories, and I don't know what to think about that one, because she was, like she said, in an Alzheimer's ward, and Alzheimer's patients can hallucinate. But the nurse did say that when she heard someone shuffle up behind her, she also felt a hand on her shoulder. And I don't know, guys, this story is pretty creepy. The patient described the man as being in all black, yet very handsome. I know that the Grim Reaper is conventionally described as being in like a hooded cloak, but could this have been the Grim Reaper? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments.
Imagine getting this mad because your bubble tea was made wrong. Police were called to this bubble tea place after this grown man had a meltdown because his bubble tea tasted too bitter. He got so mad that he threatened to throw the drink at the worker and said some very offensive stuff in Korean. Then he tried to force the worker to drink the bubble tea that he just finished putting in his mouth.
You know the reason why I'm here. You know, I do. And I explained. It was so bitter to drink. I will explain. And could you check this? Could you try this? I told her, but she rejected.
Hey, first off, there's no reason to act like this over a drink. You're a grown man.
This is the worker, and she tried to find a solution by offering to make him a new drink or give him a refund, but this man was so mad. He didn't want any of that. He just wanted to fight. The workers ended up calling the police because this man was getting pretty aggressive, and when the police arrived and heard both stories, they were upset because this man was acting like a baby over a drink. Then this man called his daughter so that she can better explain the situation because there was a language barrier, and you would think that she had more common sense, but it seems that common sense does not run in this family because she was blaming the workers for everything.
There's bigger things in life to worry about than a damn drink that's bitter enough.
I know, sir, you're really discounting.
But if then you go to another location, if I go to a restaurant and they offend me, I'm just not going to bring my business
I know,
in.
that's how you handle your problem, and this is
But
how
you can't come in public and then cause a disturbance.
Sir, I understand what you're saying, and I understand that he was offended, you know, he may seem like really offensive and you apologize, okay? But when someone is really worked up,
and there's no de-escalation of the problem because they are not apologizing for the service, then we only get really upset.
Okay, he's got to be in charge of his own emotions.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like the drink, then take the refund and don't come back. It's simple. It's so frustrating to see the entitlement and lack of awareness of these people. I felt so bad for this worker. She broke down in tears and apologized to this man so many times, but he wasn't satisfied and just wanted to continue to fight. It's so frustrating to see this, especially because she's working at a bubble tea place. She probably gets paid minimum wage and she has to deal with people like this.